Oh, man. Welcome back to the Gray Space. I'm Zeke. That is Dre.
Yepers.
And it's just the two of us again this week.
Yes, sir. We are back. Biggity back. With another fire one. But before we get into a conversation between just me and my brother right here, y'all know what to do. Subscribe to become part of the tribe. Do us right. Hit that like and comment because you guys are loving the content. Now. Let's, man, you know what I'm saying? It's been crazy. It's been crazy out here in the streets. But before we get into it, man, how you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm doing all right.
You back with the Miami Vice.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it.
You know what I'm saying? The CSI Miami.
You know what I got to say, though? Like, I have a few of these I bought, right?
Okay.
But I can't wear them in summer. They're still a little too thick.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The weather's just right for it.
Okay.
But then when it comes cooler, it's going to go to like, long sleeve shirt, stuff like that. A little bit more sweaters, stuff like that. So there, I like to switch it up a little bit. You know what I mean?
CSI Miami.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't as bad as last week. I buttoned it up,
I say.
I buttoned it up for everybody.
I say he's a runner. If anybody's ever watched CSI Miami, you remember the one detective, I forget his name, but this was kind of like what kicked off the whole, like, the narrative and the stereotype of the television crime dramas. CSI Miami took it to a whole nother level because now it was corny at the time.
Oh, it's still corny, bro.
It's still corny. It's way cornier now than it was, but it was corny at the time.
Right.
But it really hadn't been done. It hadn't been
the redheaded dude with the glasses?
And he would come in with the glasses and he would snap. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
I can picture it.
I got CSI. This is a fact. I got CSI Miami season 1, 2, and 3 on DVD. This is a fact. Super fact.
Really? You do really?
I was just cleaning some stuff up.
Wow.
And I was like, yo. Right,
crazy.
Because at the time, CSI Miami, it was like soap opera ish with the way they like Law and Order kind of did it,
right?
But CSI Miami was really soap opera ish,
right?
But it like the crime scene stuff to me was so dope, right? And at the time I was like, when he used to come in and be like, well, I say. Every goddamn time. And I remember watching Supernatural and then they made fun of the whole thing and they were like, well, I say he's got a sweet tooth. Well, I say get him a Tums. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo. So you got the whole CS. If you had the sunglasses on right now, you would be like, well, I say.
Man, if I had my sunglasses in the room, I'd put them on for you, dude.
Well, I say. Welcome to the Gray Space.
There you go, man. Oh, man.
I got a quick question for you, man. We're not going to do a whole.
Yeah, it's a bunch of random little topics, sure, man.
Yeah. But a quick question for you, man. Recently, one of our greats, Lauryn Hill, and I say one of our greats because it's starting to get a little questionable. Here's why I asked that. Here's why I say that. Had a show. She showed up about 2 hours late, from what I heard. And when she showed up, she said, y'all MFers better be grateful that I'm even up in here. Right. And I might have added something to that, but she basically said, y'all better be grateful that I even pulled up to perform. What are your thoughts on that real quick? Because I feel like this has been kind of the story of her performing throughout the years.
My thing is this, right? Like, if you don't want to perform, don't perform. Don't schedule dates. Don't have your manager, whatever, however that whole system works, right? However you're booking shows and stuff.
Right.
Don't book it. Right. I just don't understand the thought process behind that, right? Like, Lauryn Hill is talented.
Extremely.
It's just she just is, right?
Extremely.
She could be a little diva-ish or whatever behind the scene. Oh, okay, whatever, dude. Like, whatever. Right. But people actually paid money to see your show.
And it was like middle of the week. I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that.
Like, look, man, like, just show up and perform. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Nobody's going to hold you against you for not performing.
Right.
But when you say, hey, I'm coming to your neck of the woods, wherever that's at, and I'm going to be there, right? Like, it bothers me. It really does. It bothers me, you know, and then, you know, it's funny because you asked me if I heard about this, and I honestly, I didn't. But what's really interesting is I heard one of the dudes that I really do enjoy, Robert Glasper, was talking mad shit about her. And, you know, he was telling a story. I implore you to go look it up.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Basically, he was hired as a band, being the piano player and his crew and stuff like that,
right,
for her.
Okay.
And kind of long story short, she basically flew out to wherever they were playing. I can't remember where it was, but basically fired them. They had to perform for a whole week rehearsal. And as the day of the show came, she said, nope, we're having this other band play. Like, just straight up. You got to listen to his side of the story. It's really interesting. So, again, she's kind of known to be doing this super diva-ish stuff, right?
Right.
And again, if you don't want to perform, or if you find another, like, you already hired this band and they rehearsed for a whole week, and you're talking about Robert Glasper.
Right. A legend.
And he said
certified legend.
Yeah, and he said something like she wanted to work with him or something. And she was like, you need to send me a tape or something like that, right? Or something. You need to send me something. He's like, I'm not sending you nothing. Go look at my work.
Right.
My work speaks for itself.
Right.
Why do I got it? I don't have to. He goes, I've made it already. I've already made it. You don't, like, just because you are who you are, and she is on a different level, I would probably say, than. But so, again, that's another artist, right? Like, why are you treating another artist like that? So it's just
there's levels to
weird.
that. There's levels to that, and I won't necessarily go super into that Robert Glasper situation. But what I will say is, like, is she really at that level? You dropped one album.
Yeah, true.
You disappeared from music forever for your own personal reasons, reasons that a lot of people understand and agree with. Mm-hmm. You've kind of like been playing double dutch with music over the years. Mm-hmm. You had the amazing verse on Nas's song. Mm-hmm. Seemed like you were back in it.
Right.
Have kind of been tiptoeing in and out. Mm-hmm. And for you to show up late, okay, like, things happen. To show up 2 hours late and then have no gratitude for the people that have bought tickets. Mind you, her fan base is not going to be a younger fan base for the most part.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So these people that are showing up have full-time jobs, most likely have kids, showing up during the week, later at night, waiting for another 2 hours.
I wonder how many people actually left.
I'd get my money back.
Oh yeah, man. It would have been one thing to wait like 30 minutes. You should be
grateful that somebody paid for the tickets to pull up and watch you. So
for sure, you should be grateful for anything that
everybody should be gratuitous in that. And
if somebody paid money to see us live,
come on, bro,
that'd be weird. First of all, it'd be weird, but genuinely though, it would be like, oh, okay, well, yeah. You want to pay $20 to come sit here and watch us do a show? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're still going to pull up. We're going to, we shoot, you know,
we might go even crazier because it's like, man, appreciate y'all pulling up with the bread.
Somebody
in today's environment. Come on now.
So it's just, it does not, it just rubs me the wrong way, man. Yeah.
Bad luck.
It is. It's not good look. And then again, maybe that's why I heard that, because I just heard that story a couple days ago, and maybe the reason is because I honestly didn't hear about this.
I think we got to be honest. I think we got to be honest, man. And yeah, she, like, that's not cool, man.
No,
that to me that turns me off.
And I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. I mean, you could be
100%.
I mean, I don't even know who you would think the biggest star is. Maybe it's Taylor Swift or something like that.
You could be Beyonce, Jay-Z, you could be
whatever, right?
Nas,
like
you could, whoever.
You on this level, like, don't do you have a fan base, right? Like, that's your income.
Right.
Is people going to see you?
You got to pull up with the gratitude, man. Appreciate y'all. Sorry for being late.
Well, and again, it could be.
But I'm gonna murder this show. Watch this.
Exactly. And
Strumming my pain with his finger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, anyways,
something else that's been cracking off in the news in the social media world. Keith Lee, well respected, very popular. Food critic, if you will, TikTok food critic, also a professional MMA fighter as well. But he's really gotten a lot of his notoriety from basically being, one of the social media food guys, pulls up to a lot of mom and pops, a lot of small business restaurants, he does some of the more commercial spots as well, but really has hung his hat on, rolling around the United States and going to these mom and pops, trying their food out, and has really bigged up a lot of businesses throughout his ascension as a TikTok food critic, right? Mm-hmm. People really respect. I mean, dude, he's made some restaurants a lot of money, right? And he's also not purposely, but contributed to some restaurants losing some money, right? At the end of the day, when a food critic says, y'all go try it, and they're popular, you're going to go try it, and it's either you're going to agree with them or disagree with them, right? And so I would say that he's been pretty spot on based on his track record with his assessment of restaurants. Recently took some flack for basically saying Atlanta restaurants, a lot of Black-owned restaurants in general, need to kind of boost up their customer service, boost up the experience a little bit, right? Deliver on the food, deliver on the time of the food, right? Just be a little bit more organized and professional, specifically when it came to the Atlanta area. And he caught some flack for it. He caught some flack for it from Ocho Cinco, who has now retracted his statement. Basically, he didn't know about Keith Lee, did some research. And, the biggest conversation has been like, us as Black people, we got to big up each other no matter what. But the truth is that isn't the truth, right? If, to me, you actually, not more, I wouldn't say more honest, but I would say you're doing a disservice to these mom and pop shops if you're not saying, hey, man, the food, he's not dissing the food per se. He's just saying, you guys are saying this is, come here, you're going to have this type of experience, and you're not delivering on that experience. You're not bringing me that customer service that I'm getting, not necessarily Black owned throughout, but specifically in the Atlanta area, which has been the biggest topic, right? And that's what he's there to do. Is to be honest. Now it's your job, just like if you watch a music review,
I was just going to say that
video review, it's your job to go check the shit out.
I was just going to
and make your own.
I was just going to say that about what you heard, right?
Right.
Like you can kind of correlate it in the same way of us doing a review on music, right?
Right.
He might have walked into a particular, and I'm not, saying, because you're saying it was like more of a broad stroke of Atlanta in general.
Right. That his experience through different restaurants in that area.
But he's not saying every single one. No. But anyways, it is ultimately up to the viewer, right, who's consuming the content to go for yourself to check it out. Right. Well, it's the same thing when we do reviews for albums, right? It is our opinion, right? Just like we're going to do one a little bit later after we shoot these, we're going to do another music review. You might agree with you, might agree with me. You might totally disagree whatsoever and say it's total garbage. I don't know what you're talking about. Or it's
whatever.
It's just our opinion, right?
Exactly.
That's what reviews are.
Yep.
And sometimes you walk into an establishment, maybe, right? The staff, like maybe they did intend to be a certain way, right? And they did, or they do still promote it as you get this experience for walking in the door this way.
Right.
But you don't know either, right? What happens behind the scenes? Maybe 4 people called out, 2 people quit.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it could be a weird random day.
Right.
Right. And you walked in on the worst possible day.
Right.
Possible.
Now, mind you, this is his assessment of this.
Right. And I'm just saying there's this
like he kept going back and kept going back and not to one particular restaurant.
Just different ones.
It was like, okay, this happened that time. Let me go back and check it out. Mm-hmm. Oh, this happened this time again. It keeps happening when I'm in this general area. Right. What is going on here? Mm-hmm. Right. So it was from basically a long list of research that he had done and reviews. Right.
And so I would also too argue if he is going back and getting those like weird experiences, bad service, maybe the food's good, but maybe the service is crap and it's just not clean, maybe, you know, stuff like that, right? That place isn't going to, it doesn't matter if he says something good or bad about it anyways.
Somebody's going to say something no matter what.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to last for that particular establishment to be in business anymore anyways. Right? It's just, maybe it moved a little quicker because he said something because he has a million
somebody's
followers.
Going to get on Yelp and say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like you don't need to be.
Everybody has an opinion about it.
Of the 5-star food critic that we used to see in the movies that would come down and order 3 plates of your
right, and it'd be in the newspaper.
Right. Those days are gone. That's why we have Yelp. That's why we have all these different avenues, all these different people that are reviewing food. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we as consumers will take pictures of food and either promote it or not promote it on our personal social media. So
yes,
like. Relax. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I think what it is that social media has become really it is the media. We need to stop calling it social media. Mm-hmm. It's not social media. It's media. Mm-hmm. It is how we get our information now. Mm-hmm. It is how we get our entertainment now. Mm-hmm. It has sprinkled into the way that traditional media delivers their media.
Right.
They shoot commercials different. The commercials are now shot in the way of a reel or a short, right? Ads now pop up in real time while you're watching the game. You're watching the game. They shorten the screen to give you an ad on the side just in between timeouts or whatever, right? Like social media has taken over the way we consume information. Mm-hmm. And I think what happens is when you have a guy like a Keith Lee, when you have a guy like maybe a Dame Drops, when you have some of these guys that get popular for their work in social media, that the first thing is to be like, well, you didn't go to school for it. You didn't. No, my brother. This is the way it works now, right? This is the way it works now. And I think,
and too, right, like to some of these people's credit as well, like in media, right, in whatever it is, it could be on any platform really. Obviously, something is working in the sense of more people agree, than disagree with that particular person. Obviously,
it's the one medium where you can get direct to consumer review, like.
Yeah.
Like literally we don't have to wait for numbers to come out. The numbers are there instantly, right? And they're either going to stay there, go up or go down. Doesn't matter. Right. So it's the one place where you can be like when you watch a show and you're like, why did that show get canceled? I love that show. This is like, that show's not going to get canceled because you're pulling up for that show every single week. You're pulling up for that 30-second minute review every single week, every day, right? So it's like it's even more valid because it's showing that the people actually fuck with it,
right?
Period, right?
Yeah.
Which takes me into another point, man. Is this podcast thing, Brody? Like we've been doing this, and it's been a slow and steady grow. And shout out to all the listeners, shout out to all the viewers out there, man. We super appreciate you guys. You guys can kind of see some of the growth a little bit, especially through like YouTube, but you guys have no idea like what the actual podcast does, like the growth that we have there. Some of the stuff that we're working on in the background right now is crazy. Partnering up with some really dope people, working on some really dope shit, y'all. Like it's the end of this year and next year is going to be fucking fire. And we got some guests that are going to be pulling up, some old, some new, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be fire. So we appreciate you guys. But there's been a lot of recent talk about podcasts and kind of the decline of podcasts, which it happens when there's an oversaturation, right? Music is kind of going through the same thing right now. Like people are like, yo, we need some creative shit. Fuck all this. Everything sounding the same.
Ebb and flows.
It's ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Right. What are your thoughts about the podcast world right now? Like, where are you? I mean, obviously we do it. We like to say we do a show that happens to be a podcast. But what are your thoughts on the podcast world and the decline, which seems like somewhat of a decline?
Well, it's bound to happen, right? No matter what it is. I mean, you could even take TikToks and that whole social media, which we just talked about. The platforms will always be there, right? But the content tends to change.
It does.
Right? And it typically goes by trends. Not always, right? Like, I don't think of us as trendy, right? Obviously, because if we were trendy, we would be in the millions of followers, right? But that's not us. That's not what we're trying to do, okay?
Right.
And so maybe the decline, because I don't know, I haven't seen numbers, I don't know, like, particularly, but you know that it's on a decline, right? Like, and I think a couple things. I think people pigeonhole themselves, right? We've had many conversations about us not trying to pigeonhole ourselves of like just music, right? And trying to get out and branch out a little bit more, right? I think the way things are shot, things, just topic wise, right? There are so many. The thing I thought about when you told me about, like, you kind of wanted to bring this up, there are 7.5 billion people on this planet. There is an endless supply of interesting people on this planet 100%. To talk to, right?
Yes.
And that have fascinating stories.
Yes.
And I don't care how many podcasts there are, ain't nobody getting to them all. Ain't nobody getting to them all.
Great point.
You know what I mean?
Great
so
point.
I think
that's a great point.
I think there will always be a place, especially for interviews and stuff like that, right? Even what we're doing right now, right? Like just us chopping it up back and forth, right? I think it's fascinating when people have something cool to talk about or something interesting to talk about. But on the interview side, that is just a wealth of, because there are people that don't talk that are fascinating. And I know you've run across people like that.
100%.
I run across people like that, but they'll never come and sit on this show or any other show, right? But those are the people that you kind of want because they have.
We've had people straight up tell us like, "Man, love your show,
but I can't do the camera thing.
It just I can't do the camera thing."
And I get it,
right?
But like maybe eventually, somebody will, and that's who we're trying to gather. It could still be music. It could be in the way, editing videos or, in any type of entertainment, right?
Right.
But not only that, but, we've had lawyers on, we've had business people on. I mean, try to get, this wealth of knowledge because I think people crave that, right? I just think the more trendy type of stuff and people sticking with it too.
Right.
Is another factor of why it's a decline, right? Because obviously we hit a peak because of COVID. Everybody was at home. Some people did stick with it, right?
Right.
But now you're seeing, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this. So you're going to have the decline of stuff. So I think there's a lot of different factors.
There's a lot of different factors, man. There's one, the monetary factor, which is, I think that, it was somewhat lucrative if you were maybe in a certain position at that time. Like if you were able, like if you already had a following, right, and weren't from the ground up, it was like, oh man, it was very lucrative in the beginning, and then it wasn't so lucrative, right? It's also a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work that a lot of people don't understand how much work it is, how time consuming it is. Not just to shoot, but to set up the interviews, to set up the cameras, to, you know, and some of these, I mean, some of these better productions, you know, you have production teams, you have, you know, the Pivot has a production team, Joe Rogan production team, Joe Budden production team. Like these, they're shooting podcasts, but they're shooting shows. They're shooting talk shows, right? In a sense, without the audience.
Right.
Right. And so there's a lot that goes into it that I think a lot of people, when they start doing it, they're like, oh man. Then there's the other thing. You got to be good.
Right.
Like you got to be halfway decent. Just because you have a following doesn't mean that you're great at talking to people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some people who,
or you can't interview very well either.
There's some people who can interview in a sense of like they can be interviewed.
Correct.
And speak very well, get asked questions and respond. There's some people who can do both, who can be interviewed and interview very well. And there's some people who can interview very well, but who aren't that great at being on the other side of the interview. Right. And so I think it's one of those things where, like, you start to do it, you start to get into this whole world of having guests, and especially if you have like a huge following and your following comes from whatever other source of entertainment. Yeah. Right. It can be very humbling to be a host.
Yeah.
Right. To have to sit back and not necessarily be the star of the show.
Right.
Right. And so, and then again, like I said, the monetary factor can be, because, man, podcast money is slow money until it's big money.
Right.
I mean, you're grasping at straws.
Right.
On the come up. You just really are. You know what I'm saying? You're grasping at straws. You're pinching pennies and you're grabbing nickels and dimes and whatever you can on the come up. Right. And figuring out different creative ways to monetize the whole thing. So
I also I want to say something personal that I find boring about podcasts, right? Like,
okay.
And it's celebrities, to be straight up with you, man. Like, if I see a celebrity on a podcast, most of the time, like 99% of the time, and I mean celebrities doing podcasts, not being interviewed.
Okay.
Doing podcasts is, I don't know, for whatever reason, I am not interested.
Right.
Just not interested. And I typically stay away from most celebrity interviews as well, because I'm just not that interested.
Right.
I think there's way more interesting people to talk to.
Yeah.
Right. I still, and it's just, and again, this is just personal. This is, I'm not saying not to watch celebrity interviews or anything like that, because I still find, and you could call them celebrities, music interviews fascinating to listen to.
Right.
Because I think I like the art better than I do the movie stars and TV stars. I like to watch TV and movies, but I typically don't care about acting. So to me, it doesn't really mean much to me. And I find that very bland as a podcast, is the more celebrity centric type of, and I'm seeing a lot more of them just jumping into it. And I'm like, man, I'd rather see more people like us, because I think there's way more interesting people either locally bound somewhere, right, that you could tap into that don't necessarily have another voice to get on a platform and talk about some of the great things that they do or are fascinating and have different ideas.
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, like, I don't know how many times I've been surprised on this show by talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, at first, when we started doing interviews, you get kind of like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. That switch slowly gets flipped off. And you kind of go in with no expectations.
Right.
Because it never goes the way you think it's going to go anyways.
1,000%.
Right? Whether they're talkative, kind of quiet, take a minute to get in,
right.
you know, there's all kinds of ways it goes. So you just go with the flow.
Of course.
But most of the time, dude, I mean a high percentage of people that have sat here, fascinating to talk to.
100%.
Always have a fascinating story, something that they went through, and you're like, wow, I didn't even think about that.
And there's
you know
people,
what I mean?
there's people that we know, like that we've had, like maybe not best friends, you know what I'm saying? But people that we've
pretty
known
good acquaintances or whatever.
Very right. Mm-hmm. People that are in the call log, in the contacts, that like they'll tell you stuff, and you be like, I've known you for 10 years. You ain't never said that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
bro, I'll give you a prime example. When we had Matt on the show, right? He's been a friend. I've known him for 30 years. And he was talking about, because our friendship is not about what he does for a living.
Right.
Right. And we had him on the show to kind of talk about what he did for it, because it's fascinating.
Right.
Dude, I learned something new from a friend that I've had for 30 years because we just don't have conversations like that.
Right.
So, again, it surprises you because you're like, where do you do all that?
Yeah.
I know you work with the financial side of things, but I had never really dove into what you do, you know?
And I'm super with you on like the celebrity stuff. I do think I like when the OGs step in. So like I really like All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Stack 5, right? Like I think they do a great job because their perspective comes from a place of like we did it. We were in the game, we played the game, and they do a very good job of interviewing, using their personal experience to generate great questions.
Okay.
And great shows. Pivot. I mean, I can't tell you how much look, if I ever ran into Freddie T, Ryan Clark, and Channing Crowder, I would tell them how much I thank them for that show and for how much influence it's had on me as to what I do and how I carry myself. I love that show. I think they've done a tremendous job with that show. The different, yes, it's sport based, but it's not. It's a very real entertainment, conversation based podcast that I really think that we don't intentionally do, but we mirror a lot of stuff that they do. I mean, we were doing it before they were created, right? But a lot of the stuff is very similar. Love that show. So I don't mind when some of the OGs step into that realm. And then one more thing, the passion behind it. Like you can have a talent for it, but are you passionate about it? And when you're passionate about it, you see where the difference is. You see why Joe Budden's podcast has become so popular over the years.
Right.
You see why, because he's been passionate about it. And he's even been so passionate as to say, this is not working. I got to change everything. Joe Rogan has been passionate about his podcast, has had several different walks of life on his podcast. You can agree with him, you can disagree with him, but he's always had real conversations with people from all walks of life. Pivot, same thing. You can see they're passionate. They come in with a game plan. They've consistently gotten better from week one to whatever week they're in now. Same thing with All the Smoke. So you see when people are passionate, and when you're passionate about your craft, the growth is going to be there and you're going to stick with it. And those shows are going to be good because you're walking in there saying, yeah, you might have the talent to talk to people. You might be the greatest fucking speaker in the world. You might be, what's the motivational speaker, man, the big dude, is it Mike Robbins?
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Yeah, you might be him. You might be him, right? And you can speak very well, but do you have the passion for doing this? You can sit on the stage and do it, but do you have the passion for sitting down with somebody every single week?
I would also,
talking that shit?
Yeah, I agree. I think passion definitely is a couple steps above talent. Like talent can carry you to a certain
and that's
degree.
With everything, but definitely in this.
Of course, right? But the passion definitely carries you even further, 100%. Right? And I think passion turns into talent as well, right? Because if you're passionate about something, you're going to learn.
Say that one more time.
If you're passion turns into talent.
That's crazy.
So
that's fire. That's a bar. Go ahead.
So, anyways, it's like a TV show host, right? Like, picture a game show or something like that, right? And those people are talented, right? Because they know how to get in front of a camera, hold a microphone, talk into the camera, talk to the guests or the contestants, stuff like that. You can always tell when somebody has the talent, but is not passionate about what they're doing. It's just a paycheck.
Yo, shout out to Ryan Seacrest, bro.
Well, straight up, right?
Shout out to Ryan Seacrest. Who was our OG on MTV, man? Say his name.
Oh man, there was so many.
Daly?
Oh, Carson Daly.
Carson Daly, bro.
Yeah.
Like, these guys made a living off of doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like, off of being hosts and interviewing people and being not just good, exceptional at it, right?
So again, you can equate it to television and stuff like that, right? Where you can see the talent, obviously, right? Where it's just
Zane Lowe.
Now, Zane Lowe, to me, is on a different level. Like, I really enjoy Zane Lowe, right? I think if you were to pin me on, like, who's in the top 3, I wouldn't know where to stick him, but Zane Lowe is up there. He's in my top 100%. 3 interviewer. And, again, that kind of goes, though, to my music. I love music, and I like to hear where artists are coming from and stuff like that. Because, all honesty, man, artists struggle, and then they put it out to the world, and you're like, how the hell do you do that? Like, because you are literally telling people what, and then you take Zane Lowe's interview and he's pulling that out of you.
Right.
And you're like, ooh, man. Like, in a good way, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that was crazy.
Anyways, yeah, man. Again, passion is above the talent, right?
Has to be.
It just has to be. If you want to do anything, I don't care what it is. It doesn't even have to be podcasting. It could be anything you're doing. It could be
best grocery store worker in the world, bro.
In the world, right? Like, you
100%.
You
that
want
means something, bro. We need, like, come on.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you're passionate about that, and you want to be the best. It's going to be way more. And look, man, I hire people. I still hire people, right? And I go through an interview process. Every time. I swear to God, every time. It's not about what's on the piece of paper of their resume of where they worked before. It's about the passion that they have. And everybody, and I mean everybody, will give it away. Everybody will give you a piece, and you're like, this. And I have to say, my success rate's pretty good. Not to brag on myself, but it's pretty good. You know what I mean? And it's like, because you grab at that passion. You don't grab at the talent. Just because the paper has all the talent on there doesn't mean they're going to be a good fit and work for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you know me. You know I got to give my sports analogy. How many times at the beginning of a season do you say, man, on paper they look really good?
Oh, all the time.
And then at the end of the year, you're like,
that still happens. What's crazy about that? You could flip that, right? With a football player or baseball player or whatever, and you go, man, on paper, but I watched every game, and they weren't this on this piece of paper.
Right.
The stats are good, but trust me, I watched every single one.
Yep.
And they were not this good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or the other way around.
Yeah. Or it's the other way around, right?
The stats is like, mediocre.
But
you're
the passion was there, right?
It was balling.
Yes.
You could see it.
And they were hustling. 100%. They were, So it definitely, man, I really believe that passion is, it's for anything, man. It could be a hobby. It doesn't even have to be for money. You know what I mean? It could be straight up a hobby. Man, I want to be the best painter in this house ever. You know what I mean? 100%. Like, I love to paint because it's therapeutic. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody the other day because I live in an apartment and we live in a desert. There's typically not a lot of yards out here, lawns.
100%.
Right? It's mostly gravel, right? And to save on water and stuff like that. Do you know, I would love to cut. I don't want to do it for a living. but I find it I find passion in it. Like, it's therapeutic to cut a lawn with a lawnmower and make it look like a baseball field, or, you know, cut the there's something about that I truly miss, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, it's stupid. It's little. It's something I'm not going to go run out but I do have a little bit of a passion for it. And I like watching videos that people mow lawns, because I'm like, man, I get some satisfaction off of watching that.
Right there.
You know, it's not like I'm doing it all day, but I'm like, oh, I'm watching this. You know, you're like, yeah, damn good, man.
Killed that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. No, I agree with you, man. I think, you know, you got to have a passion for whatever you do, but definitely when it comes to this, man, you have to have a passion for, one, sitting down and talking to people, sitting down in front of a camera and talking your shit, whatever the case may be. And it can't come from a place of like, I mean, it's going to happen. Like, you can't argue with it. It's going to happen when it comes to like the trendy stuff. Like, people are going to try to be trendy.
Oh, of course.
Throughout history.
And look at, man, I don't blame people either. But trendy
only lasts so long.
I really don't blame people for trying to jump on a trend bandwagon either. Like, especially just to even get maybe noticed, right? Like, hey, I'm doing this for a little bit because I just want to be noticed and maybe gather some, you know, and then maybe you do switch it up because you're like, okay, I just wanted to. I wouldn't personally do that, but I kind of understand the mentality behind that.
It's kind of like the strip club for the college fund, bro. You never end up going to college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
But you might be a fire rapper at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, man. Good stuff, though,
That's
man.
crazy,
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. You guys let us know in the comment section below, man. How do you guys feel about podcasts now? Are you guys getting tired of them? Is it overwhelming? Is there too much? Are you loving it? You know what I mean? Or you guys have your go-tos and that's what you're sticking to?
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate every single one of you guys listening, watching, for pulling up every single week to the Gray Space. We ask you guys to continue to pull up and rock with us and share it, man. Let the people know. Let the people know that you guys are rocking with the Gray Space. Tell a friend to tell their grandmama, to tell their grandkids, pull up to the Gray Space, man.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
You guys stay safe. You guys stay positive out there.
And as always, this is the Gray Space. Peace.